everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to our playthrough of Arkham Horror, the card game, where we're playing through the Dream Eaters campaign. This week, it's Jenny and Ursula's turn to go into their second scenario. They're on the Waking side of the campaign, so their second scenario is 1000 Shapes of Horror. From Waking Nightmare 2 weeks ago, which was their first scenario, they picked up 7 experience, but Jenny also ended up with a mental trauma from having to leave her sister behind. Setup's all done for today's scenario, so let's go ahead and set the scene.
Scenario 2B, 1000 Shapes of Horror. Intro 1. To stop the merging between the Land of Dreams and the Waking World, you decide to force your way into the Dreamlands, as your new companion Randolph calls the dimension, in your physical body, instead of traveling there in your sleep. While there are many dangers to this method of travel, I think it is better than the alternative, Randolph claims. If we venture there in our sleep, we may become trapped like your companions, unable to wake. You agree. You can do little good trapped on the other side, especially if you aim to help your companions. Your dreaming companions. Our first step is to find a key. Even in places where the Dreamlands borders the waking world, one cannot simply walk between them. I once possessed a key to the Gate of Dreams, but I lost it years ago and have been unable to find it since, he laments. Check campaign log. If the black cat is at your side, proceed to intro 2. Otherwise, skip to intro 3.
If you remember from last week when Lola and Harvey played through Search for Kadath, the cat is at their side and was very helpful in their scenario. So, translation here, the cat is not at our side, so we move to intro 3.
Intro 3. You go through the usual motions. When was the last time you saw it? Where was the last time you used it? And the like. Randolph sighs and shakes his head. You do not understand. It is not a physical key. It never was. The key was the sense of wonder, fantasy, and creativity that sparked my imagination when I was young. These are the things we do not value in maturity. It is only natural the key to these kinds of dreams should be lost with age. Proceed to intro 4. Intro 4. You ask what might have turned Randolph's mind from the fantastical and toward more practical concerns. He thinks for a brief time, mulling over the possibilities. Then, his eyes go wide as he realizes something important. There was an incident many years ago. It was the last time I was involved with something supernatural. That is, before today, he explains. I met a friend of mine, Joel Manton, in the graveyard next to the old abandoned house in the Merchant District, the one they call the Unnameable. I didn't want to believe that it was truly haunted, as the stories told, but in merely repeating the legend, I drew the creature's ire. You ask of the creature, and Randolph closes his eyes as a violent shudder courses up his spine. It cannot be described. All I know is that we barely survived. It was my fault Joel was hurt. From that day forth, I have had no desire to delve into the supernatural or the superstitious, not because I did not believe, but because I was frightened. Is that why the key eludes me? Is that why I can no longer dream? The realization hits him, clear as day. I know where we have to go. That is where I lost the key. That must be where it can be regained, he exclaims, wide-eyed. As Randolph frantically tries to hail a taxicab, you realize where he means to go. To the house without a name, where the indescribable creature that still haunts his memory resides.
Joy, joy. Whenever there's a place called the Unnameable, that's usually something you want to stay away from because it's haunted. Unfortunately, this is Arkham, where almost everything seems to be haunted on occasion. But anyway, that's what we're up against. Now we'll get opening hands set up. We're back up top. We've got opening hands figured out. I'm not real happy with either starting hand, but I think we'll be able to make it work. But anyway, let's go through Jenny's opening hand first. First card Jenny has is Leo De Luca. 5 cost to play, 1 experience, lore on commit. I'm almost certain Jenny's first action is going to be playing Leo. You may take an additional action during your turn. 2 and 2 on soak. Next up, she's got 2 copies of Watch This. We saw Jenny use this to pretty good effect last time they went through this scenario. When they went through their first scenario. So, as we recall, lore, will, combat, and agility on commit. It's a skill. Only to a skill test you're performing. As an additional cost, spend up to 3 resources. If you succeed by 1 or more, gain twice that. Then we have a copy of Stunning Blow. It's a skill combat on commit. If you succeed during an attack, automatically evade the attacked enemy. And we have Manual Dexterity, which is one of the neutral skill cantrips. This one's for agility. And by cantrip, I mean if it's successful, you draw a card from it. So that's Jenny's opening hand. Ursula's opening hand also has an ally, but not much else going on, to be honest. So here's going to be our first in-game look at either Randolph Carter, and it's chained to the Waking World. 3 cost to commit, lore, will, and wild card on commit. Get +1 will, +1 lore. After an Elder Thing symbol is revealed during a skill test at your location, exhaust Randolph Carter to draw 2 cards. 2 health and 3 sanity on soak. Then we have a copy of Shortcut, very useful Seeker event. Lore and agility, or not lore, will and agility on commit. Fast, play only during your turn. Choose an investigator at your location, move that investigator to a connecting location. So if we need to save somebody in action, we can boot them somewhere, or if we need the action ourselves. Then we have Unexpected Courage. This is the other neutral skill, but this one's 2 wild cards, but it doesn't draw you a card on a successful test. Then we have one of Ursula's upgraded deductions. It was a 2 experience to put in, 2 lore on commit. And if you succeed while investigating a location, discover 1 additional clue at that location, or 2 additional clues if you succeed by 2 or more. And we have Eureka. Will, lore, and agility on commit. If you succeed, the investigator performing the test searches the top 3 cards of his or her deck for a card, draws it, and shuffles the deck. So that's it for Ursula and Jenny's opening hands. Let's go through the act and agendas, and then we'll move over to the map. So we'll start off with the agenda. Agenda 1A, the house with no name. The house that Randolph calls the Unnameable is not much to look at. The rundown 17th century building has been abandoned for decades and has fallen into disrepair. Its doors scratched and pitted, most of the window panes are shattered, and rats crawl around the foundations. 5 doomed to advance there. Then our first act. Act 1A. Searching the Unnameable. You're still not sure exactly what you're meant to find out inside the old house, but Randolph insists that you need to locate the key. Seems like you have no choice but to search the house and see what you can turn up. Objective. Explore the house to find a way into the Dreamlands. Find and complete an objective on another scenario card to advance. So we don't know exactly what we're looking for yet, but I'm sure the map will give us more illumination on that. So let's go ahead and move over to said map. Here we are at the map. As you can see, it's the biggest map that we've had to date to start a scenario. So Jenny and Ursula are actually starting all the way down here at the burial ground. So let's go ahead. We'll take a look at both the unrevealed and revealed sides of it. Burial ground. It's a graveyard, which might affect us in cards from the Mythos deck. Looking toward the giant willow in the center of the cemetery, whose trunk had nearly engulfed an ancient, illegible slab, I had made a fantastic remark about the spectral and unmentionable nourishment which the colossal roots must be sucking in from that hoary, charmed earth. H.P. Lovecraft, The Unnameable. Now, with this many locations... Oh, we were going to look at the revealed side as well. Shroud of 4, 1 per investigator, so 2 clues. Each ghoul enemy drawn spawns at burial ground instead of at its normal location. As a fast action, investigators in the burial ground spend 1 per investigator clues as a group. Remember that the investigators noticed the missing bones, victory 1. So let's go get our 2 clues. There we are. We'll spawn those on the burial ground. Now, with this many locations, I'm not going to go through all of the unrevealed sides until they become relevant. So, connected locations, I'll go through, which will bring us to the front porch. So here's the unrevealed side of the front porch. I'd like to see that house, Carter. Where is it? Glass or no glass, I must explore it a little. And the tomb where you put those bones, and the other grave without an inscription. The whole thing must be a bit terrible. H.P. Lovecraft, The Unnameable. So that's more flavor text on the unrevealed side of the front porch. Now, like I said, we'll go through the connecting locations as we'll go through these unrevealed locations as they become connected to where our investigators are. But that will do it for the starting map. So we'll move back over to the play areas. And Ursula Downs, I think, is going to lead us off this week. So we'll move to Ursula's play area. Hello, Ursula. We'll get this week's scenario started with you. For your first action, so actually we're going to put your spin down on 1. And then we're going to put that on 3 actions left. So for your first action, we're going to spend 3 resources to play our copy of Randolph Carter, Chained to the Waking World. So that's action 1. Action 2, we're going to go ahead and investigate, and we're going to commit our copy of Deduction to go up 3, trying to get both clues. So we'll grab our handy-dandy little bag over here. And it looks like the most dangerous thing in here is the tentacle. Fortunately, that is a +1, so we get both clues. So that was her second action. For a fast, we're actually going to use Shortcut. We're going to boot Ursula up to the front porch. So we're going to head back over to the map. We're back at the map. So Ursula with the Shortcut was getting bumped up to the front porch. So let's go ahead and take a look at the revealed side of the front porch. Alright. Shrouded 2, 2 clues. Investigators in the entryway spend 1 per investigator clues as a group. Reveal the upstairs hallway. Fast action. If the Unnameable has 1 per investigator or more damage on it, smoke trails off of the creature, leading to a tomb near the center of the cemetery outside. Put the set-aside Unmarked Tomb location into play. So we'll get our 2 clues. There we are. Then we'll go through our new locations. Looks like the 2 downstairs doorways both have the same flavor text. This door was not open before. You only turned for a moment, but you thought you saw something. But what exactly? A blur? A figure? And we've got 2 of those in play, so we've got the one right here, and then one on the other side. Next, we'll take a quick look at the upstairs hallway. Upstairs hallway. A malodorous presence prevents you from venturing upstairs. You cannot enter the upstairs hallway. There, I was just trying to track my progress, and you can see it. Those little glints are eyes. They have to be. Something was watching me. Annie Vandermeer Mitsoda, The Investigators of Arkham Horror. That's another... The Investigators of Arkham Horror is another book from Fantasy Flight to introduce you to the investigators in the Arkham Files. So, anyway, coming back to the scenario, Ursula moved, so we're going to get a free investigate out of that. I'll put a resource on Ursula to indicate that we've done that. Alright, so here's her free investigate. She's up 3. And actually, I'm not. I'm up 3. That should be fine. That time we get tentacle touched. That's unfortunate. But we do have 1 action left, which will be to investigate. Still at 3. Let's go have a look at what the skull is. Skull is -1, -3 instead if you're at a graveyard location. Fortunately, she is not at a graveyard location, so we get another clue. And I think Ursula will spend the 2 clues to reveal the upstairs hallway. Probably should have spent them on the burial ground, but hindsight, as they say. We can come back and do that later. So let's go ahead and reveal the upstairs hallway. Shroud of 2, no clues. As a fast action, investigators in the upstairs hallway spend 1 per investigator clues as a group to put the set-aside attic location into play. So, whoops, that does get revealed, so that'll stay there. That will do it for Ursula. Jenny's turn. Could easily start at her player area, but we're going to start it here because after her first action, really, she's going to get moving. So, as her first action, she is going to spend her 5 resources. Like I alluded to the likelihood I was going to be doing this in opening hands. She's going to spend her 5 resources to play her aforementioned copy of Leo De Luca. So Jenny essentially still has 3 actions left. That didn't really change anything for her. So for her second action, she's going to move up to the entryway and join Ursula. Then action 3, she's going to investigate up 1. Ursula is going to give her Eureka to put her up 2. That's a 0, so Jenny gets the last clue off the entryway. And the way Eureka's worded is the investigator who performs the test, when they're successful, gets to look at the top 3. The reason I used it for Jenny but not Ursula was because I was happier with Ursula's opening hand than I was with Jenny's. I want to try to find a weapon with Jenny sooner rather than later. So we get to look at the top 3. Let's see, first card up is an Overpower. This is another skill card like we've seen, but for combat. Second card, Lone Wolf. Limit 1 per investigator. 1 cost to play, agility on commit. Reaction. When your turn begins, if there are no other investigators at your location, gain a resource. I don't mind being on my own. That's when I do my best work. So far we're coming up empty. Last card is Emergency Cash. Gain 3 resources. I think we're going to take the Emergency Cash just because when we find a weapon, we are going to need resources to be able to play it. So I'm going to take the Emergency Cash for that reason. These 2 are going to get shuffled back in. Let's see. Play Leo, move, investigate. We'll give this a quick shuffle. And a cut. And Jenny's last action is going to be to play that said Emergency Cash, so she's going to gain 3 resources. So that will do it for Jenny. We'll flip over her mini card out of habit. Enemy phase would happen now, but there are no enemies in play. So we're going to move back up top for Upkeep Phase. Before I do that, we'll go ahead and flip the ladies' mini cards over. And now we'll move back up top for Upkeep Phase. We're back up top for Upkeep Phase. Ursula gaining a resource means one of her singles is going to flip over to 3. So we'll move that out of the way. Jenny, because of her ability, gains 2 resources. So there are her 2 resources. We'll put those on Jenny's player tray. Excuse me. God, I really like these dashboards from Team Covenant. But anyway, Ursula's card is Another copy of Deduction. That could come in very handy, especially when we want to get her moving. Jenny's next card, Jenny's card for the turn is... Come on. There we go. Ooh, the Ornate Bow. I was hoping to find a weapon. 4 cost to play, combat, and agility on commit. Uses 1 ammo, limit 1 ammo on Ornate Bow. As an action, spend an ammo, fight. This attack uses agility instead of combat. You get +2 agility and deal +2 damage for the attack. But as an action, you have to knock another arrow, put an ammo on Ornate Bow, and it uses both hands. That is beautiful. I was trying to find a weapon, and there we go. Now that's a pretty good one, too. Alright, so Doom will go up. We'll go up to 1. There we are. Ursula's first card from the deck of Doom is... Grasping Hands. Test Agility 3. For each point you fail by, take a damage. We are up 1. Let's see if there's anything we want to commit. Yeah. Jenny is going to commit Manual Dexterity for Ursula to put Ursula up 3. Okay, the Elder Thing. So we're going to be a little busy with that. So first of all, what is the Elder Thing? The Elder Thing is a -2. If you fail, you must either place one of your clues on your location or take a damage. Fortunately, we didn't fail. So, we got a lot to do here. So, the test succeeds. After an Elder Thing is revealed, as we recall... After an Elder Thing is revealed, we can exhaust Randolph Carter, which means Ursula gets to draw 2 cards. So Ursula's first card from Randolph is... Oh god. This is Ursula's basic weakness. Unspeakable Oath, Curiosity. Campaign mode only, Peril hidden, so basically Ursula can't ask for help with it. Revelation, secretly add this card to your hand. Forced, when the game ends or you are eliminated, if this card is in your hand, you earn 2 fewer experience. Reaction, after you successfully investigate a location with no clues on it, discard this card from your hand. So that's not too bad. Ursula's second card is... Another Unexpected Courage. So again, that's a skill, that's another skill cantrip. So, because the test was successful, Manual Dexterity and Eureka are slightly different, where Eureka lets the testing investigator look at the top 3 cards. Manual Dexterity doesn't have that same specification, so Jenny would be the one drawing. And Jenny draws... Wow, another weapon. 45 Thompson. Uses 5 ammo. Spend an ammo to fight. You get +2 combat and deal +1 damage for this attack. Well, looks like Jenny is definitely playing a weapon this turn, unless the Mythos decides to play havoc with that plan. Oh joy. Hunting Ghast. Hunter, prey, most damage. Prey won't matter for spawn purposes, but it will for when it re-engages during the enemy phase. It's also a hunter, so that's going to get him moving. Forced. After hunting Ghast enters a location with a Gug enemy, ready each Gug enemy at its location and deal 1 damage to Hunting Ghast. Does 1 damage and 1 sanity on attack. So we'll give that to Jenny, because that'll be her problem to deal with. That will do it for the Mythos phase. Now we're back to the investigation phase, and I think our first investigator will be... Jenny Barnes. So we'll move down to Jenny's play area to start. Alright, so I think Jenny is going to gamble a little bit. Unfortunately, she's even right now trying to evade that Hunting Ghast. But I think action 1 is going to be to try to evade it. So So we're going to initiate an evade test. Jenny is going to commit a copy of Watch This to go up 1, and I'm going to spend 3 resources into it. Ursula does have something that she's going to commit to Jenny. She's going to commit one of her copies of Unexpected Courage and put Jenny up 3. So we're up 3, trying to evade and get 6 resources as long as we succeed by 1 or more. Elder Thing, which we saw, was -2 earlier. If you fail, you either place a clue on your location or take 1 damage. So he's evaded, and since we were up 1, Jenny will get 6 resources back, which I'm immediately going to spend those 6 resources on action 2 to play her 45 Thompson. So this is her Tommy gun, 5 ammo, spend an ammo to fight, you get +2 combat and deal +1 damage for the attack. So we'll go ahead and get out her 5 ammo tokens. There are the 5 ammo tokens. Once again, these are from these are from LCG tokens on Etsy. So there's our 5 ammo. Action 3, I'm going to immediately spend 1 to blast that hunting ghast. So we are up 3, trying to do 2 damage. Elder Sign is another +2 right now for Jenny, so that hunting ghast is very much dead. And then action 4... Action 4 is actually going to be just to pick up another resource. So that'll put Jenny up to 3. We'll go flip her mini card over. And then next up will be Ursula Downs. I'm actually going to move their spin downs as well. Jenny should be on 1, Ursula should be on 2. Ursula's turn is up next, and for her turn, we're going to move over to the map. Here's Ursula right here. We're still at the entryway. Ursula's first action actually is going to be to investigate, so we're up 3. That's a 0, so we succeed. We weren't looking for clues. What I was trying to do is I was trying to tell this unspeakable oath curiosity to get bent. I like to deal with these weaknesses. I like to deal with weaknesses early if I can. So fortunately, I was able to there. Action 2, we'll move Ursula over to this downstairs doorway. So we'll go ahead and take a look. Shroud of 2, 2 clues. For each investigator at the parlor, it gets +1 shroud. If the unnameable is a fast action, if the unnameable has 2 or more damage on it, the mirror gleams unnaturally, revealing a glint of silver. Remember that the investigators, quote, recovered a strange key. Victory 1. So we'll get the 2 clues on it. It's actually a shroud of 3. Ursula's going to take her free investigate action. She is up 2. No. I was thinking about committing her other deduction, but I'm not going to use it on a Shroud 2. A 0 gets her a clue. And then her last action is going to be to run that back. So we're still up 2. Ooh, this is a very helpful pull of the Elder Sign. Unlike Jenny's Elder Sign, which is just a straight stat boost based on Jenny's resources, Ursula's Elder Sign, come on. There we go. Ursula's Elder Sign is +1. After this test ends, you may move to a connecting location. So she succeeds, gets the clue, and then we're immediately going to move her right back to the entryway. So that'll save us an action that we won't need next turn. So that will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase would be now, but there are still no... But Jenny killed the only enemy in play. So we'll flip over the Investigator minis, and we'll move back up top for Upkeep Phase. We're back up top for Upkeep Phase. Ursula will gain 1 resource and go up to 4. Jenny will end up with 2 resources and go up to 5. Jenny's card is... Come on. Does not want to focus for me. There we go. Another copy of Unexpected Courage. Alright, Ursula will draw. Oh, and Randolph Carter will unexhaust on Ursula's side. Ursula draws. Manual Dexterity, another... We saw this earlier with Jenny. Alright, so now we're into Mythos Phase. Doom will go up to 2. Jenny will draw. Another Hunting Ghast. Gee, I wonder what we're going to do with that next turn. Ursula draws. Ghoul Minion. Alright, another 2/2/2. So, just a vanilla Ghoul Minion. 2s all across the board. The Hunting Ghast is a 2/2/3. Flavor text on here. It was a colossal and nameless blasphemy with glaring red eyes, and it held in bony claws a thing that had been a man, gnawing at the head as a child nibbles at a stick of candy. H.P. Lovecraft, Pickman's model. Alright, so that was a pretty eventful Mythos Phase, but hey, look at that. Jenny actually has something she can do, and that's where we're going to start the next investigation phase. So let's move over to Jenny's play area. So Jenny's going to start her turn by saying, "So I started blasting." And she's going to start off by blasting the hunting ghast. So she is spending an ammo on the Thompson. She's up 3, trying to kill it in one shot. One Hunting Ghast is blasted. Action 2, she's going to pop a shot at Ursula's Ghoul Minion. Now, I need to be careful. I'm up 3, so I should be okay. But it is important to note that friendly fire is a thing in this game. So if I miss the Ghoul Minion, Ursula's taking damage. So don't miss, Jenny. Absolutely. Hey, look at that. -2. Ghoul Minion's dead. For action 3... Action 3 will take us back over to the map. Action 3 for Jenny will move her over to the downstairs doorway, and we'll see what this one is all about. Shroud of 4 clues. After you successfully investigate the den, discard 1 card from your hand. Discover an additional clue at this location. As a fast action, investigators in the den spend 1 per investigator clues as a group. Remember that the investigators studied a desecrated portrait, and it's victory 1. So we'll get our 4 clues. Four clues. And then for action 4, I think Jenny's just going to move back over to the entryway. So that will do it for Jenny. Ursula's turn. Ursula's going to start off with, for action 1, she's going to move over to the den, and we're going to use her free investigate action. So right now she's up 1. I'm going to use my copy of deduction to put her up 3. So we're up 3. As long as we succeed by 2 or more, we get 3 clues. We get 2 if we succeed. We get 2 if we succeed, 3 if we succeed by 2 or more. So we're up 3. The Elder thing, once again, is -2. So we do get 2 clues, but we didn't succeed by 2 or more. So we get 2 clues, and I'll exhaust Randolph again so I can draw 2 cards. First up, Magnifying Glass to give her +1 lore while investigating. 1 resource to play, it's a fast, lore on commit. Flavor text on here, a lens into a world unseen can reveal things you wish it hadn't. And her other card is Manual Dexterity. We've seen this before. So for that fast action, we're gonna spend a resource to play that Magnifying Glass. So that's another 1 lore while investigating. Actually, I take that back. We're gonna back that up just a second. So one of the Manual Dexterities wasn't in her hand. Neither was a Magnifying Glass. But we're gonna pitch the Manual Dexterity to discover another clue at the location. So we do get another clue there. Action 2 will then be to investigate, and we are up 2, trying to get that last clue. -2 gets us the last clue. And then as a fast action, Ursula will also spend 2 of her clues to remember that the investigators studied a desecrated portrait. So we'll put a resource there. And then action 3, Ursula's going to move right back to the entryway. So enemy phase would happen now, but Jenny once again doing Jenny things and blasting our enemies. So we will reset the investigator minis, and we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for upkeep phase. Randolph will ready for Ursula. Then Ursula will gain a resource, go up to 4. Jenny will also gain a resource, will also gain 2 resources. She will go up to 7 resources. And then Jenny will draw another emergency cache, gain 3 resources. All right. And then Ursula draws Fieldwork. 2 resources to play, agility on commit. Reaction, after you move to a location, if that location has at least 1 clue on it, exhaust Fieldwork. You get +2 skill value to the next skill test you perform this phase. So that'll be very handy. Mythos time. We'll grab another Doom out. Going up to 3 on the agenda. Then Jenny will draw Indescribable Apparition. Revelation. Put Indescribable Apparition into play in your threat area. You get -1 to each of your skills while the Unnameable is at your location. 2 actions to discard it. So fortunately the Unnameable hasn't come out yet, but we'll put that in Jenny's threat area. Ursula, only 1, will draw another Swarm of Rats. Hunter, 1/1/3. A horde of cruel rats skitters forth in an undulating wave of claws, teeth, and mottled fur. So Ursula has a friend now. Alright, that will do it for the Mythos phase. We're back to the investigation phase again, and our first investigator will be Jenny Barnes. So we'll move over to Jenny's play area. Jenny's first action is going to be to punch Ursula's Swarm of Rats. She's up 2. Hey, look at that. Ursula's swarm of rats is punched. They're dead. Action 2. Actions 2 and 3 are going to be to discard this indescribable apparition. I just don't want it out when the unnameable comes out. So that's actions 2 and 3. Action 4, we'll move Jenny up to the upstairs hallway. Actually, we'll move her up to the upstairs hallway. We'll flip her mini card over here. And then Ursula will be up next, and the start of her turn will take us back over to the map. Here's Ursula. For her first action, she's actually going to spend 2 resources to play her field work. So we'll put that into play. Second action, she's going to move up and join Jenny. On a fast action, we're going to spend 2 clues, one from Ursula, one from Jenny, to put the attic into play. So we'll take a quick look at the attic. They never unlocked that attic door, but left the whole house as it was, dreaded and deserted. When noises came from it, they whispered and shivered, and hoped that the lock on that attic door was strong. H.P. Lovecraft, The Unnameable. So we'll grab another connecting arrow, and we'll put the attic into play. They don't connect to each other. They don't connect to the upstairs doorways, so... And then Ursula's third action, we're going to move her over to one of these upstairs doorways. We're going to move her over to this one. Shroud of 3, 2 clues. 2 actions, discard all non-weakness treachery cards from your threat area. Investigators in the bedroom spend 1 per investigator clues as a group. Remember that the investigators found a cracked mirror. Victory 1. So open player window after Ursula's last action. She's going to be busy. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to exhaust field work to get +2 to her next skill test, which will be her free investigate for the turn. So she's up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She's up 5. A 0 will get her the clue. We'll get her a clue. And then we'll spend 2 clues to remember that we found a cracked mirror. So we'll put another resource on the bedroom just so we remember we've done that. That will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, once again, no enemies in play. So we'll flip Jenny's mini card over and we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for the upkeep phase. Ursula will gain 1 resource and go up to 3. Fieldwork will unexhaust. Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 9. Jenny will draw. Come on. There we go. Another copy of Leo De Luca. I'm not real happy to see that. Ursula will draw. Jake Williams. This is her signature ally. 3 costs to play. Lore and question mark on commit. The first move or investigate action you perform each turn does not provoke attacks of opportunity. Reaction: after you reveal a new location or put a location into play, exhaust Jake Williams to draw a card. 3 health, 2 sanity on soak. He could actually end up being very useful later in the scenario, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Mythos phase time. Doom will go up to 4. Jenny will draw. Threads of Reality. Uh-oh. Attach to the non-permanent, non-weakness asset you control with the highest printed cost. Otherwise, it gains Surge. Treat attached asset as if its printed text were blank, except for traits and forced abilities. Action: discard an asset you control. Discard Threads of Reality. Well, I might not actually mind that too much. And then Ursula draws. Crypt Chill. Test Will 4. If you fail, choose and discard an asset you control. If you can't, take 2 damage instead. The supernatural cold threatens to freeze your soul. Alright, so right now we are down 1. I'm going to commit an unexpected courage for Ursula to go up 1. Let's see, Ursula. A 0, which means we get to keep everything on the board as is. So Unexpected Courage does its job. Crypt Chill can get bent. That will do it for the Mythos phase. Now we're back into the investigation phase, and our first investigator this round will be Ursula, so we'll move over to the map. We see Ursula up and shot over here. So she's going to start off with an investigate action on the bedroom, and she's up 3. That is a skull. And as we take a look at the scenario card, skull is -1, -3 if you're at a graveyard location. That is not a graveyard location. So we do pass, which gives Ursula the last clue off that location, so that's another victory for us. And action 2, she's going to move down to the upstairs hallway. Then action 3, she's going to move to the other upstairs doorway, and we will have a free investigate coming out of this. But let's see what we have in the upstairs doorway. Shroud of 1, 2 clues. As an additional cost to investigate it, you either lose an action or take a horror. As a fast action, investigators in the library spend 1 per investigator or 2 clues as a group. You read a strange journal entry regarding one of the graves in the burial ground outside. Put the set-aside Unmarked Tomb location into play. Victory 1. So we'll get our 2 clues for that. And then Ursula will use her free investigate. She is up 5, and she is going to take a horror, because we don't have an action left to lose. So there is her horror. Actually, Ursula is up by a lot more than that. We will exhaust field work. Ursula is up 7. Let me double check. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. She's up 7. A +1 gives Ursula one of the clues, so that's phenomenal. So we'll grab that, then we'll spend 2 clues to read the strange entry, so we get to put the set-aside Unmarked Tomb location into play. Take a look at the Unmarked Tomb. It actually is going to connect way down to the burial ground. Okay. It's another graveyard location. From the tomb came such a stifled uproar of gasping and whirring that my fancy peopled the rayless gloom with Miltonic legions of the misshapen damned. H.P. Lovecraft, the Unnameable. So we'll grab another location arrow for that. That will go into play all the way down here at the burial ground. Or connected to the burial ground. I'll zoom out so you can see where that is. So right there is the Unmarked Tomb. But anyway, that will do it for Ursula, so we'll go flip her player card, her mini card, over. Come on. There we are. Alright, so there's Ursula. She's still at the library. And we don't have to move from the map because Jenny's turn is not going to take us too far from that. So for action 1, Jenny's going to move up to the attic. See if it's a shroud she can handle. Not a chance. Shroud of 4, 2 clues. And as a fast action, investigators in the attic spend 1 per investigator clues as a group, so once again 2. Deep within a pile of monstrous bones, you see a glint of silver. Remember that the investigators recovered a silver key. So I'm also going to flip the minis over. Shroud of 4, 2 clues. So we'll get our 2 clues. Right there. Come on. There are our 2 clues. We'll put those on the attic. Right now, Jenny is down 1 trying to get those clues. YOLO. We'll commit her spare copy of Leo for an investigative event reaction 2 to get her to even. Nope, that's a -1, so that's a fail. Action 3, we're going to commit her copy of... Where is it? Here it is. We're going to commit her copy of Unexpected Courage to get her up 1. Alright, +1 gets her a clue. So we'll move that over to Jenny's play area. And action 4 will be to just draw a card. So let's see what Jenny finds. Another copy of Overpower. It's another cantrip skill, Overpower, this one for combat. So that will do it for Jenny. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, no enemies in play right now, so let's move back up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for upkeep phase. I did reset Jenny and Ursula's mini cards over at the map while I was off camera. Fieldwork also unexhausts. Ursula gains a resource, goes up to 4. Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 11. Ursula will draw. Another copy of Shortcut. This could come in very handy on the next round. So we saw that earlier. Jenny draws. Lone Wolf. We saw this earlier when we were looking at cards for... Eureka, that's right. But anyway, that'll do it for the upkeep phase. End a round if nothing happens. Mythos phase, our agenda advances. So our 5th Doom. And... ooh, we have the Unnameable. Spawn attic or upstairs hallway. Aloof hunter can't be defeated. For each of the following which are true, the Unnameable gains -1 fight and -1 evade. The investigators found a cracked mirror, studied a desecrated portrait, or noticed the missing bones. 2 damage and 2 sanity on attack. And of those 3, 2 are true. So we'll spawn him in... we can spawn him in either the attic or the upstairs hallway, and we get to choose. Actually, do we get to choose? I'm going to rule that we do, because time is a little sensitive here. So I'm actually going to spawn him in the upstairs hallway. So that will do it for the Mythos, for the agenda advancing. Now we get our actual encounter cards. Let's see what Ursula draws. She's up first. She draws Crypt Chill, test Will 4. If you fail, choose and discard an asset you control. If you can't, take 2 damage instead. Ursula is actually even, and that's where she'll test. And we get Tentacle Touched. So we'll discard the Magnifying Glass, because that's not really doing much for her right now anyway. Jenny draws. Night Terrors. Okay, put Revelation, put it into play in your threat area. After you fail a skill test, reveal the top 3 cards of your game, draw weaknesses, and remove everything else from the game. As an action, if Night Terrors is in your threat area, test Will 4. After this test ends, discard Night Terrors even if you fail. So we still would have to do the fail effect first. But anyway, that will do it for the Mythos phase. But we need to go through the new agenda before we move into the investigation phase. So, the investigation phase. The thing with no name. You felt an evil presence lurking here ever since you arrived. The entity defies all description. At times it appears formless. At others, it embodies myriad shapes and features. You can sometimes pick out a particular aspect. An eye, a horn, a blemish. But it disappears as soon as you focus on it. Each swarm of rats gains Swarming 1. Forced, at the start of your turn, if the unnameable is ready and at your location, test Will 2. If you fail, it attacks you, even if it's not engaged. Okay, so... Alright, so that will do it for the Mythos phase. Now we've gone through the agenda as well. Actually, Crypt Chill is discarded. Our first investigator this round will be... Ursula. So we'll move over to the map. Here's Ursula right here in shot in the library. For action 1, she's going to investigate, and she's going to take a horror, so we don't have to lose an action. She's up 4, 5, she's up 4. -1 gets her the clue, so that's another victory for us. Action 2 will bring her down to the upstairs hallway. And as a fast action, we'll shortcut her up. We'll shortcut her up to the attic. Free investigate. We're going to exhaust field work, so 4, 5, 6, 7 to 4. She's up 3 on this free investigate. -1 gets her the last clue, and then we'll once again spend 2 clues so that we remember that we get to remember that we have recovered a strange key. So action 1 to move down, shortcut free investigate, shortcut into a free investigate, and action 2 will move her down to the upstairs hallway. Actually, wait a minute, hang on. I had to think this through. Action 1 was investigate. Action 1 was investigate the library. Okay, action 2 is moving down to the upstairs hallway. Never mind. Then we shortcut it up to the attic, free investigate up there. Action 3 will take her back to the upstairs hallway. Alright, that is it for Ursula. Jenny is not going to be moving too far either, so she's actually going to move... For action 1, she's actually going to play Lone Wolf. When your turn begins, if there are no other investigators there, get a resource. So we'll play that. Action 2 will move her down to the upstairs hallway. Action 3 will bring her down to the entryway. And then action 4, I'm actually going to discard Lone Wolf so I can discard Threads of Reality. So that gives me the Thompson back again. Alright, fortunately the Unnameable is aloof, so we don't have to worry about him attacking Ursula now. Enemy phase, so that'll be it for the enemy phase. We'll move back up top for upkeep phase. So Jenny, I'll zoom the map out so you can see where Jenny is. Jenny ended up down here at the entryway. So anyway, we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase after I reset the minis. We're back up top for upkeep phase. Fieldwork unexhausted for Ursula. She'll gain a resource, go up to 5. Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 12. Get that out of the way. Ursula will draw. Hyper Awareness. It's her skill dump for lore and agility tests. Jenny will draw. Backstab. 3 resources to play. Lore and agility, or not lore, combat and agility on commit. Fight. This attack uses agility instead of combat. This attack deals +2 damage. Alright, so we've got that. Doom will go up to 1. We're in the Mythos phase now, so we'll put our Doom up on the agenda. Go up to 1. Ursula will draw. Swarm of Rats, and we have to remember these are swarming now. So we'll take a swarm card from Ursula's deck, and we'll spawn it there. In her threat area, Jenny will draw. Ghoul Minion. 2/2/2, we saw this earlier. So they both have monsters now. Alright, so that'll do it for the Mythos phase. We're back into the investigation phase now, and I think our first investigator will be, for the first time in a while, it's going to be Jenny. But we're going to start her turn off at her play area. Alright, here's Jenny. She's going to start off her turn by trying to blast the Ghoul Minion. She's up 3. Ghoul Minion is very dead. Action 2. See if we can do something about that Night Terrors. We cannot right now. So I think actions 2... Actually... Action 2 will be to draw a card. Hard Knocks. Skill dump for combat and agility. Action 3 will actually be to play that. You to play Hard Knocks. And then action 4, along with most of Ursula's turn, will take us... Actually, I take that back. Jenny's last action will be to move down to the burial ground. So we'll go ahead and exhaust that. That'll do it for Jenny. Next up will be Ursula, and we'll start off in her play area. Here's Ursula. Now, before we even start her turn, we have to deal with the test on the agenda. So she's got to test Will 2, because the Unnameable is ready and at her location. So if she fails, she's going to get attacked for 2 and 2. But she can take this if she has to, so she is up 2. A 0 so we don't get attacked. Cool. And I'll put these ammo tokens back in the craft tray. Action 1, she's going to try to evade the swarm of rats. So we'll put that on 2 to indicate that she has 2 actions left. And she's going to commit manual dexterity to go up 3. +1 leaves the rats behind and draws Ursula a card. Very nice. Alright, so rats are evaded. Ursula draws. Another copy of Fieldwork. Alright, then actions 2 and 3 for Ursula will take us over to the map. Once again, Ursula's all the way up here in the upstairs hallway. Action 2, and the Unnameable actually is aloof right now, so we don't have to worry about attacks of opportunity. Action 2 will take us down to the entryway, and action 3 will bring us down to the burial ground. And then as a fast action, Ursula will spend 2 clues. to remember that the investigators noticed the missing bones. So that will knock the unnameable down, turn him into a 2 undefeatable 2. So that will do it for the upkeep phase, or the investigation phase. Enemy phase, the unnameable is a hunter, so he'll move. The swarm of rats is also a hunter, but they were evaded, so they don't move during this enemy phase. Anyway, that will do it for the enemy phase. We'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for the upkeep phase. Ursula will gain 1 resource and go up to 6. Jenny will gain a resource and go up to 11. Jenny will draw. Guts. Another skill cantrip, this one for will tests. Ursula will draw. Another hyper-awareness. We have another one in hand already, so let's keep that in mind. That is the end of the upkeep phase. Mythos phase. Doom goes up to 2. And then Jenny draws. Secrets in the Attic. Test Will 3. If you fail, take a horror and put secrets in the attic into play next to the agenda deck. Reaction abilities on locations cannot be triggered. Forced. At the end of the round, discard 1 copy of Secrets in the Attic from play. Max once per round. Alright, so we're at even right now. And I think even is where we're going to test. So up 1. Or so even. Yeah, even. That should be fine. A 0, so we don't have to worry about that. Ursula draws. Deceptive Memories. Put Deceptive Memories into play. Forced. After another card enters your threat area, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. As an action, test Will 3. If you succeed, discard Deceptive Memories. So, all things considered, I guess it's a pretty tame Mythos phase. But that will do it for the Mythos phase. Now we're back into the investigation phase. Our first investigator will be... I think it'll be Jenny. So we'll move over to the map. Here's Jenny. For action 1, we're actually going to try to get rid of her night terrors. So we're going to commit Guts to the test to put her up 1. Ursula. No, I think up 1. Looking at Ursula's hand. No, I think we'll just test up 1. Either way, we get rid of night terrors. So up 1. Cultist. That can't be good. Whoa. Alright, so Cultist is reveal another token. If you fail and the unnameable is in play, which it is, it attacks you, regardless of its current location. So, up 1. Still up 1. +1. Okay, so Night Terrors is gone, the unnameable does not attack, and we draw a card from Guts. Guts draws us. Ooh, Jenny's Twin 45s. Jenny Barnes' deck only uses X ammo, where X is the cost you play into it. 2 agility icons, and a question mark on commit. Action, spend an ammo, fight. You get +2 combat for this attack. This attack deals +1 damage. Say, are those Mr. Donahue's guns? Jenny held a pistol over her shoulder and struck a pose. I think they suit me better than him. Don't you agree? 2 hands. It's basically It's basically the 45 Thompson that we have with a lot more ammo potential. So I'm very happy to see that. Those could come down a lot later in the scenario and with a lot of resources on them. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So that was action 1. Action 2 will be to move her over to the Unmarked Tomb. Let's see what we have over here. Shroud of 3, 2 clues. Graveyard location. Objective. At the end of the round, if each undefeated investigator is at Unmarked Tomb and the investigators recovered a strange key, advance the act. We have recovered the strange key, so we will be able to advance next round. So we'll be able to advance at the end of this round. But, let's see, action 1 was to get rid of the Night Terrors, action 2 was to move. Action 3, oh, why not? We'll investigate it even. See if we can speed some of those clues along. Ursula can probably nab them in her sleep, but any action that we don't have to, we'll try not to. And hey, look at that. Jenny actually gets a clue. Nicely done, Jenny. And for her 4th and final action, she's just going to take a resource and go up to 12. So yeah, that will do it for Jenny. Fortunately, we're over at the map already. So Ursula, which is where we want Ursula to be, or where we want to be with Ursula. Action 1, we actually are going to play Jake Williams. So to refresh our memory, the first move or investigate action you perform each round does not provoke attacks of opportunity. As a reaction, after you reveal a location or put a new location into play, exhaust Jake to draw a card. 3 and 2 for health and sanity soak. Then action 2, we're going to spend 2 resources for another copy of Fieldwork, which again gives us +2 to a skill value if we exhaust it and it has a clue on it. Action 3 will be to move over to Unmarked Tomb. We'll exhaust both copies of Fieldwork, so we're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. To 3, we're up 6 to try to get that last clue on her 3 investigate. Elder Sign. Wow, that's the 3rd one I've drawn this scenario. And as we recall from earlier, Elder Sign is +1. After this test ends, you may move to a connecting location, except Ursula wants to stay put. So that's the last clue on there. That will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, our hunters move. Swarm of rats moves down to the entryway. The unnameable ends up at the burial ground. And then we'll move back up top for Upkeep Phase, after we reset Jenny and Ursula's minis. We're back up top for Upkeep Phase. Both of Ursula's Fieldworks will unexhaust. And then Ursula will gain a resource, go up to 2 resources. Jenny will gain 2 resources as well. She will end up at... yikes. I'm going to need more of these tokens. But anyway, she's going to end up at 14 resources. That's a lot. Excuse me. Then Jenny will draw. Come on. There we go. The Moon 18, message from your inner self. 3 cost tarot to play, get +1 agility. When the game begins, if Moon 18 is in your opening hand, put it into play. Open your eyes and listen to your shadow. Alright, and then Ursula will draw. Another copy of Guts. This one is for her. Alright, so at the end of a round, looking at the Unmarked Tomb, if each undefeated investigator is at Unmarked Tomb, they are, and we have uncovered a strange key, we have advanced the agenda, or advanced the act. So let's go ahead and take a look at the act. There's a wall of text here. Alright. Act 1B, Into the Depths. The tomb opens into a staircase that stretches deep underground before disappearing into darkness. Set the unnameable aside. It keeps all tokens and attachments. Remove each location from the game or place it in the victory display if it has victory X and no clues on it. Investigators are not defeated during this process. Other enemies and attachments at those locations are discarded. Shuffle the set-aside Mysterious Stairs locations and put 5 of them into play in a vertical line. Remove the remaining Mysterious Stairs location from the game. Place each investigator and the set-aside unnameable enemy at the topmost Mysterious Stairs location, revealing it. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for both copies of Locked Door and both copies of Secrets in the Attic, and remove them from the game. Shuffle each set-aside copy of Endless Descent into the encounter deck along with the discard pile. I'm going to do all of that off camera, so we'll be back once that's done. Alright, we're back. Setup is all done for the new act. Once we move back up top for Mythos Phase, we'll go through the new act. But here are the 5 Mysterious Stairs locations. What I've done with them is I've actually kind of made an L shape with them. So this one's actually the bottom location, right? This one right here. So rather than make a straight line, I had to modify it a little bit for the space to make an L instead. So that's your bottom location. But we have spawned Jenny, Ursula, and the Unnameable. I did put a spin down on the Unnameable on the 3, just to indicate that we have done all 3 of the effects of the special things on the locations. So he's a 2 undefeatable 2 right now. But we do reveal the topmost Mysterious Stairs location. I will take a look at the unrevealed side because they'll all have the same text. Mysterious Stairs. It's another graveyard location. Mysterious Stairs is connected to the locations above and below it. So warm and narrow were the steps, and so greasy with the ooze of inner earth, that the climber never quite knew when to expect a breathless fall and hurtling down into the ultimate pits. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. And this one has, on the revealed side, Shroud of 4, 2 clues. While there are clues on this location, investigators at this location can't move or resign. So it looks like that'll be a job for Ursula. Fortunately, very fortunately, the Unnameable is still aloof. So we'll get the 2 clues. We'll put Ursula to work on that probably next round, but that's assuming we don't have anything go crazy on us, but that will do it for that. Now we'll move back up top to go through the act and go into the Mythos Phase. Alright, we're back up top, so let's take a look at the new act. Act 2A, The Endless Stairs. The steps seem to descend forever. Every time you think you're nearing the end, you round another corner and see hundreds more. While the bottommost Mysterious Stairs location is revealed, it gains Action, Resign. Objective, reach the bottom of the stairs. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, advance. So, alright, so we need to get them down to the bottom of the stairs, which again is the right side of the L at the very bottom that I had to make. But that will do it for all of the end of round. Mythos Phase, Doom will go up to 3. Jenny went first. She will draw. Glimpse of the Underworld. Revelation, place it in your threat area. Force, when you would take damage and or horror, take an additional 1 of either one. As a fast action, discard it, then take 1 and 1. We'll probably just end up getting rid of that right away. Ursula draws. Oh no. Endless Descent. I hate this treachery so much. Revelation. Move each investigator and enemy at the topmost location to the topmost location to the location below it. Flip the topmost location to its unrevealed side. Oh boy. Flip the topmost location to its unrevealed side, discard all tokens and attachments from it, and place it below the bottommost location. Shuffle the positions of the unrevealed locations so you cannot tell which is which. add this card to the victory display. So for a mercy, we had to shuffle four of these into the encounter deck as part of setup earlier. So we'll only have to deal with it 4 times since we have to add it to the victory display. But I guess I don't mind seeing it now. So let's move back over to the map and set that and do all that. Alright, so we're back here at the map. So we move Jenny, Ursula, and the Unnameable down to the location below the topmost. We'll take a look at this location. Shroud of 3, 0 clues. Mysterious Stairs is connected to the locations above and below it. Forced. After you enter this location, lose an action. So Ursula has 2 actions this turn, Jenny has 3. And then we flip this to its unrevealed side. Discard all tokens and attachments and place it below the bottommost location. Shuffle the positions of each unrevealed location so you can't tell which is which. Alright, so that becomes the topmost location now. But we can move out of here, so that might be so that'll be helpful to know. And we'll move that up there. And we'll bring this over here. So shuffle the positions of each. Okay, so these 4 get shuffled. Alright, so give that a little crappy 4-card shuffle. Alright, so we'll respawn those. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then Endless Descent will go into the victory display. God, I hate that card so much. But anyway, that will do it for the Mythos phase. Our first investigator will be... Actually, before we leave the Mythos phase, Jenny is going to discard Glimpse of the Underworld and take 1 and 1. So now that will do it for the Mythos phase. Now we'll move into the investigation phase. Jenny will be our first player, so we're actually going to start right here. So we're going to start here at the map. First of all, though, she's got to take a Will 2 test. She's up 1. And I'm going to commit Guts. I'm going to commit Ursula's Guts to put her up 3. Because I really don't want to get attacked here. And if this plan works, they might not get attacked. Cultist, uh-oh. We're still up 3, but this could be a problem, because if Jenny fails this, she's actually getting attacked twice. So, we're still up 3, but now we are in danger of being attacked twice. But we don't get attacked at all, so that's fortunate. Then Ursula will draw the card from that. Ursula draws. I've got a plan. 3 cost to play, lore and combat on commit. Fight. This attack uses lore. You deal +1 damage for this attack for each clue you have, max +3 damage. That's the worst plan I've ever heard. Well, what are we waiting for? And we have 2 clues, so we'd be doing 3 damage. But anyway, that brings us over to Jenny. That brings us back to Jenny. So she's going to use her last charge of her Thompson. She's up 3. She's up 3 right now, but I'm going to commit Stunning Blow to the attack as well. So we're up. So right now we're up 4, trying to do 2 damage and automatically evade the Unnameable. Actually, wait. Hang on. Back that up. I just remembered something. I forgot he was aloof. So action 1 is going to be to engage the Unnameable. Now action 2 is going to be to do all of that. So spend the ammo, commit Stunning Blow. So Jenny is up 3. Right. Elder Thing, as we recall from earlier. The Elder Thing is a -2. If you fail, you either place one of your clues on your location or take a damage. So he gets 2 damage on him. Okay, so there's his 2 damage, and he's evaded. And then because we revealed an Elder thing, Ursula's going to exhaust Randolph Carter to draw 2 cards. First up is Perception. Same thing we've seen before for lore. It's one of the skill cantrips. And Guts. Another skill cantrip for will. So that was 2 actions to engage and attack. And then action 3, Jenny's going to move down to the mysterious stairs. Let's flip it over. All right, Shroud of 3, no clues on it. Connected to the locations above and below it. Forced. When this location is revealed, place 1 per investigator resources on it. While there are resources on this location, investigators at this location can't move or resign. As an action, test your lowest skill 2. If successful, discard 1 resource from this location. All right, so we'll get 2 resources. Put them on the location. And then we don't even have to move anywhere because Ursula is up next. So Ursula's first action is going to be to move. Unfortunately, we don't have clues there, so we can't exhaust either of our copies of Fieldwork. And our lowest skill is our combat, Ick. So I guess I will commit... I've got a plan to get to even. And Jenny will actually help her out as well. She'll give her overpower to put Ursula up 2. And +1 gets one of those resources clear, so that's all handled. And then Jenny will draw a card from that. Jenny will draw 41 Derringer, yet another weapon. Uses 3 ammo, spend an ammo to fight. You get +2 combat for this attack. If you succeed by 2 or more, this attack deals +1 damage. So that will do it for Ursula. Enemy phase, nothing happens because the only enemy is exhausted, thank God. But anyway, that will bring us to the upkeep phase. So the Unnameable ready. We'll reset Jenny and Ursula's player card, mini cards, and then we'll move back up top for upkeep phase. We're back up top for upkeep phase. Ursula will gain a resource, go up to 3 resources. Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 16. She's got a few resources on her. Jenny's draw will be Arcane Studies. Skill dump for lore and will this time. And then Ursula draws Perception. Skill dump or skill cantrip for lore. Anyway, that will do it for the upkeep phase. Nothing happens at end of round. Randolph also unexhausts as part of Mythos, or as part of upkeep. Doom goes up to 4. Alright, be nice to us, Mythos deck. Jenny draws Swarm of Rats with Swarming 1. Okay. Ursula draws. Oop, wrong card. Wrong deck. Pretend you didn't see that. I'm going to give that deck a quick shuffle. Alright. That will be something I cut out. Alright, now we're drawing from the right deck. Ursula draws Grasping Hands. Test Agility 3. For each point you fail by, take a damage. Alright, so we are going to commit one of Ursula's copies of hyper-awareness to go up 2. Right, the 0 means she doesn't take any damage, so that's phenomenal. Okay, now, question is, how do we want to do this? This is going to be an interesting question, isn't it? I think our first investigator will be Jenny Barnes. We'll move back over to her play area. Alright, we're here with Jenny. She's got this swarm of rats to deal with, so we're going to try to evade that. We're at even right now. But I'm going to spend 3 resources into it and go up 3. And Ursula's not going to commit, so up 3. +1 evades the rats, so that's cool. Now for action 2, we're actually going to test Jenny's lowest skill, but because she's 3s across the board, no matter what we test, we're up 1. So we're going to test her let's take a look at her hand. I'm going to test her combat, actually. So I'm up 1 already on that. I'm going to commit, watch this, spend 3 resources on it to go up 2. And then I'm going to spend a resource into Hard Knocks to go up 3. -2. Good thing I was up 1. So that test is successful, so we remove the last resource. And then we did succeed by 1, so Jenny's going to get 6 resources and go up to 15. That's a lot. Alright, so in action 3 is going to take us over to the map. Actually, action 3, before we move over to the map, action 3 is going to be for 3 resources. We're going to play the Moon 18 to boost her evade. So to boost her agility. So that's the tarot slot. And then action 4 will take us over to the map. Jenny's right here. So action 4, we're going to move down to the next mysterious stairs location. Let's take a look. Right. Shroud of 4, 2 clues. While there are clues on this location, investigators at this location can't move or resign. So we'll get the 2 clues there. There we are. That will do it for Jenny. And Ursula is not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere because Ursula is going to work from the map as well. So action 1, she's going to move down to the mysterious stairs, exhausting both copies of field work, giving her a free investigate. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to commit a copy of perception to go up 7. And a 0 gets her a clue and a card. So we'll take the clue and draw a card. Ursula will draw Eureka! Okay, so we had to shuffle this earlier because we inadvertently drew from the wrong deck, but looks like we get it anyway. So if the test is successful, the investigator performing the test searches the top 3 of his or her deck for a card, draws it, and shuffles it in. And you can get a will, lore, or agility on commit. So that's cool. So that was action 1, free investigate. Action 2, we'll run the investigate back, and we'll commit our other copy of perception. This time we're only up 4, 5, 6, 7. This time we're only up 3. Elder Sign. Ooh. Alright, so we get to draw a card from Perception. Milan Christopher, you're a little late to the party, buddy. 4 resources to play, a lore on commit. You get +1 lore. After you successfully investigate, gain 1 resource. While I truly pray that this nightmare is just a singular abomination, I must admit that I am exhilarated by the possibility that this is but one specimen of a new genus. 1 health, 2 sanity on soak. But because we actually succeeded at an investigate and got the clue, and pulled the Elder Sign again, Ursula does get to move. So we'll move down to the next Mysterious Stairs location. And we'll see what's on here. Oh boy. Mysterious Stairs is connected to the location above and below it. Forced, when this location is revealed, move the unnameable to it. Yikes. Alright. While the investigator is at this location... Then the last part. While the unnameable is at this location and has fewer than 1 per investigator damage on it, investigators at this location can't move or resign. Yikes. Alright, so that was action 2. Okay, wait a minute, let me think this through. Action 1 was to move down to Jenny, free investigate, which let her move down because we free investigate emptied a clue. Action 2 was another investigate, so action 3, because he does have 2 damage on him, 1 per. Action 3, we're actually going to move over to the last Mysterious Stairs location. So let's see what we have here. Alright. Alright, Shroud of 3, no clues. As an additional cost for you to move or resign at this location, you must discard 1 or more cards from your hand with at least 2 instances of the same skill icon among them. Okay. Oh, that shouldn't be a problem for Ursula. I imagine it won't be for Jenny either. Okay. We are clear there. So that will do it for the investigation phase after after Ursula doing Ursula things. Investigation phase, or enemy phase, I think, who are we going to move him to? Who can better survive the test? I think we'll move him up to Jenny, actually. Yeah, we'll move him up to Jenny. And then we'll move up top. So we'll ready everything. And then we'll move up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for upkeep phase. Both of Ursula's fieldworks will exhaust. She'll gain a resource, go up to 4. Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 14. Jenny will draw. Another 41 Derringer. Not something we particularly need here. Ursula will draw. Mind over matter. 1 cost to play, combat and agility on commit. Class play only during your turn. Until the end of the round, you may use your lore in place of your combat and agility. So that will do for the upkeep phase. Mythos phase. Doom goes on up to 5. It was on the agenda going up to 5. Jenny will draw. Glowing Eyes. Put Glowing Eyes on a revelation. Put Glowing Eyes into play in your threat area. At the end of the round, take 1 horror for each card in your threat area to a maximum of 3 horror. Discard Glowing Eyes. Ursula draws. No! Not Endless Descent! Move each investigator and enemy at the topmost location to the location below it. Flip the topmost location to its unrevealed side, discard all tokens and attachments from it, and place it below the bottommost location. Shuffle the positions of each unrevealed location so you cannot tell which is which. Add this card to the victory display. Fantastic. Well, is it really going to affect anything? Probably not. So the topmost. So let's actually move over to the map. We'll get everything straight. Alright, so we drew another copy of Endless Descent. So move each investigator and enemy at the topmost location to the location below it. Nothing was there. Flip the topmost location to its unrevealed side. Discard all tokens and attachments from it and place it below the bottommost location. So that's now the bottommost location. Essentially everything just shifts up one. So actually, no, I don't. Now that I look at it, I don't think Jenny can resign this round, but it won't screw us up too much, I don't think. All right, so 1, 2, yeah, she won't be able to resign this round, but I don't think it'll be a problem. So that's all done. That goes in the victory display. That will do it for the Mythos phase. Ursula we'll have Jenny go first. So she's got to test a Will 2 test. And she's up 1, and I think that's where she's going to test. Okay, -1 means she doesn't get attacked, so that's fortunate. So action 1, we're going to move her down to this mysterious stairs. Action 2, we're going to move her down here. Action 3, we're going to move her over here. And then this reveals, and we lose an action, so Jenny's turn is over. Ursula is going to move... What's Ursula going to do? Ursula is actually going to move over to the mysterious stairs for 1. Is she going to resign? Yes, I think she is going to resign. So that will do it for Ursula. Ursula's scenario is over now, which means we'll go into the enemy phase. So hunters will move, the unnameable will move down there, swarm of rats will come down here, and we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for upkeep phase. Jenny will gain 2 resources, go up to 16 resources. And then she'll draw Hallowed Mirror. 2 cost to play. This is one of her Guardian splash cards. Limit 1 per deck. Forced. After Hallowed Mirror enters play, search your bonded cards for 3 copies of Soothing Melody. Add 1 to your hand and shuffle the other 2 into your deck. When Hallowed Mirror leaves play, find each of those copies of Soothing Melody, even if they're out of play, and remove them from the game, and it takes her accessory slot. So, end of round, Jenny will take a Horror for Glowing Eyes, because it is a card in her threat area. So, there's the 1 Horror. We'll put that on her player dashboard, and we'll discard Glowing Eyes. And then our agenda is advancing, so we're at 6. I'll discard Ursula's Deceptive Memories since she's gone, since she resigned. Alright, so, Agenda 2A. It grows bolder. Time is running short. The entity, which before it seemed content to loom and observe you from afar, now swells with power and pursues you with relentless ferocity. It writhes and thrashes, seemingly everywhere at once. You have to hurry and confront your fears, or you will never find your way into the Dreamlands. Shuffle the discard pile into the encounter discard pile into the deck. So that's simple enough. We'll just give this a quick shuffle. give that a cut. Okay, let's go ahead and go through our new agenda as well. Agenda 3A, The Dead with No Name. There was a vortex of withering, ice-cold wind and the rattle of loose bricks and plaster, but I had mercifully fainted before I could learn what it meant. H.P. Lovecraft, The Unnameable. Each swarm of rats gains Swarming 2. The Unnameable loses Aloof and gains Massive. Forced. At the start of your turn, if the Unnameable is ready and at your location, test Will 2. If you fail, it attacks you, even if it is not engaged. 7 Doom to advance that. And we just advanced, so we're looking at a fresh agenda. So, Jenny has one card to try to get out of this. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. No whammy. Deceptive Memories. Revelation. Put it into play in your threat area. Forced. After another card enters your threat area, choose and discard one card from your hand. As an action, test Will 3. If you succeed, discard Deceptive Memories. Phenomenal. Alright, so we dodged the card that we were hoping to dodge from the encounter deck. And so Jenny is no bonus points for guessing what Jenny's doing at the bottommost location. She's resigning. So that brings us back to the act. If reach the bottom of the stairs, which we both have, if each undefeated investigator has resigned, which they both have, advance. Alright. Act 2B, Forced Entry. The forlorn cries of the unnameable creature, whatever it is or once was, echo throughout the unnatural caverns from far above you. It cannot reach us down here, Randolph says, letting out a sigh of relief. It was a harrowing descent, but you are finally safe from the indescribable thing. Even so, your safety is fleeting. The stairway coils below you with no end in sight. Windows in the spire's stone wall overlook an endless landscape of rocky crags and barren peaks, dimly lit by a gray phosphorus light. You are still many miles above the floor of this subterranean world, and who knows what horrors you may find once you arrive. This is only the beginning, Randolph warns you. There is no turning back now. Are you ready to proceed? R1. So let's go straight in to Resolution 1. Where are we?
If no resolution was reached because each investigator was defeated...
Oh, shut up. No, actually.
Resolution 2. Resolution 2.
No. I want Resolution 1.
Resolution 1.
Here we go.
This place is nothing like the mystical forests, charming medieval villages, and majestic panoramas of which Virgil Gray wrote in his stories. No, far from it. This cold, bleak gulf eats away your hope and replaces it with a feeling of empty, meaningless dread. You ask Randolph if this is the way to your comatose companions. You almost hope that you are traveling in the wrong direction, so you can leave this awful place behind. I do not know, he replies, peering out one of the windows along the stairway. We have traveled beyond the waking world, but this is the lower plane of the Dreamlands, known as the Underworld. It is an inhospitable place. Many of the creatures we have seen crossing over into our world come from this region. Perhaps our key knew this was our true destination? Your guide examines the arcane key you found in the abandoned house, running his fingers over its arabesques as though recalling its shape, its weight, its texture. His eyes water with the depth of his loss. You offer to hold the key for him, which yanks him from his private thoughts. Ah, yes, perhaps that would be best, he says, handing the delicate artifact to you. It is surprisingly heavy for something that, according to Randolph, is not real. With Randolph and the silver key in tow, you continue your descent anew. The Underworld may or may not be where your companions are, but if the creatures invading the world of the waking are indeed from this place, then perhaps here you can find answers. In your campaign log, record Randolph survived the descent.
Alright, so Randolph survived the descent. Okay.
In your campaign log, record the investigators possess the silver key. Any one investigator may choose to add the silver key to the Gate of Dreams, to their deck. This card does not count toward that investigator's deck size.
Alright, so let's take a look at the silver key. The silver key to the Gate of Dreams. 2 cost to play, will, and 2 wild cards on commit. As a reaction, when you would take horror, exhaust the silver key, cancel 1 of that horror. Inside, wrapped in a discolored parchment, was a huge key of tarnished silver, covered with cryptical arabesques, but of any legible explanation, there was none. H.P. Lovecraft, The Silver Key. I don't think Ursula has an accessory slot somehow. She does not. I think I'm going to give that to Ursula, actually. Let's see. So the silver key. Key to the Gate of Dreams. Alright. Okay.
Investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the Victory display.
Alright, so we actually did pretty well on this scenario. I think this is all the experience we can get out of this, too. So we got Victory 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me just double check that. 3, 4, 5. Yep. 7 more experience. Alright, so we left Jenny with... We left her with 1 floating, so she's up to 8. Ursula goes up to 7.
Your body now walks within the slumbering Dreamlands. Add 1 skull token to the Chaos bag for the remainder of the campaign. If you are playing the web...
Hold it. Okay, so we'll go to my token bag. Cultist, Elder Thing, Keys. Here we are. Alright, so here is another skull token going into the bag for the campaign.
The 4-part campaign. Proceed to scenario 3B, the point of no return.
By the way, we are not playing the Web of Dreams as a 4-part campaign. So, next please.
Playing the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as an interconnected 8-part campaign, and you have not played Scenario 2A, The Search for Gaddath. Proceed to that scenario.
Which we did last week.
And you have already played Scenario 2A, The Search for Gaddath. Proceed instead to Interlude 2, The Oneronauts.
And that interlude is where we're going next. So, once again, pardon any background noise that you hear. I'm starting to clean up. So, actually... Alright, so here's Interlude 2, The Oneronauts, to start.
Interlude 2, The Oneronauts. Read this interlude only if you are playing the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as an interconnected 8-part campaign. Do not read this interlude until both scenarios 2A, The Search for Gaddath, and 2B, A Thousand Shapes of Horror, have been completed.
Blah, blah, blah.
The Oneronauts 1. Following scenario 2B, the investigators have finally reached the end of the mysterious stairway. The black cat awaits you at the bottom of the stairs, watching your long descent and with distant, unblinking eyes. You are about to ask how the cat got there when it cuts you off. Don't bother. You wouldn't understand. It curls up on the cold stone floor, lounging amid the bleak environment. Check the campaign log for the Web of Dreams Campaign B. Read the section that applies to your situation, then proceed to the following text. If neither situation applies, skip them.
Alright. Randolph did not... Okay, so the situations that would be checking for are if Randolph did not survive the descent and the black cat has a hunch, neither of those are true, and we didn't ask for it. So... that will bring us to... let's go... I think this is where we want to be.
You about had it with this cat's cryptic half-truths and non-answers. You rail at the beast. How are you supposed to help when you might as well be stumbling in the dark? The black cat sits up and narrows its gaze. I did not know if you could be trusted. To be honest, I am still unsure. I have had visions of these events for many, many years now. I know some of what may come to pass, but not everything. You could be the ones who will save us all, or the fools who herald our doom. The cat's justification is convenient, but it does explain how it is known where to find you at every turn. You try to persuade the cat to trust you, but it remains unconvinced. Tell you what, Beneath the surface of the Sea of Pitch lies a passageway between realms. That is where you need to go to stop this world from merging with yours. Make it there in one piece, and I'll tell you everything. But first, I have somewhere else to be. Your pals need me too. Check campaign log. If the Black Cat has a hunch,
which he does not,
it wanders off before you can reply. It's pitch black for melding into the darkness of the Underworld. Otherwise, the Black Cat once again offers to pass the message along to your companions. The lead investigator must decide. Choose one. Tell your companions that you are in trouble. The Black Cat will return to you with aid once this message is delivered. This may put an undue burden on your companions. In the campaign log for the Web of Dreams, Campaign B, record the Black Cat requested aid from the others. Tell your companions about the Underworld. The Black Cat will then go elsewhere. In the campaign log for the Web of Dreams, Campaign B, record the Black Cat shared knowledge of the Underworld. Tell your companions that you are safe. The Black Cat will stay with them once this message is delivered. This might make your quest a little more difficult. In the campaign log for the Web of Dreams, Campaign B, record the Black Cat warned the others. Proceed to the Oneironauts 2.
Okay, so our choices here are send the cat elsewhere, move the cat to the waking investigators, or leave the cat with the dreamers. Now, the dream investigators came out of their scenario in decent shape. They earned 6 experience and didn't pick up any new trauma. The waking investigators, just as you saw, just earned 7 experience and didn't pick up any trauma either. So far, it seems like Jenny and Ursula seem to be holding their weight up pretty well. So, I think we're actually going to leave the cat with the dreamers. So, the Black Cat warned the others. Alright, so proceed to the Oneironauts 2.
The Oneironauts 2. Following Scenario 2A, the dreamers sail for parts unknown. You open your eyes to the sound of a cat's shrill caterwauling. You had been drifting off to, well, not sleep exactly. Despite, or perhaps due to, your dreaming, you have been unable to truly sleep in this realm. When you come to your senses, you spot the source of the wailing. Virgil's cat, black as the void of space itself, sits several feet away from you, waiting for you to pay attention. Finally, it declares, about time you noticed something outside your own head. Listen, I got something important to tell you. Check the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A. Read each section below that applies to your situation. Then, proceed to the following text.
Alright, so the warnings, the prompts it's giving us are, if at least one of the investigators was not captured, if all of the investigators were captured, or if the Black Cat has a hunch and Randolph eluded capture. Let's see, the investigators were not captured, so...
If all of the investigators were captured...
Which they were not. So let's see what's next.
If the Black Cat has a hunch and Randolph eluded capture...
Neither of which are true, which we established, and...
If at least one of the investigators was not captured...
Okay, so neither one of them were captured.
Where's my human? The cat asks, craning its head to look around to the deck of your ship. Didn't I leave him with you? You explain that Virgil has been taken captive by Corsairs, and the cat replies by licking its paw without much concern. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm on the same page as you now. Now where was I? Oh, right. I had a chat with your friends. They're in the Dreamlands now too. They have a message for you. Check the campaign log for the Web of Dreams Campaign B. Read the section to the right that applies to your situation. Once the relevant entry has been read, choose and proceed to either Scenario 3A, Dark Side of the Moon, or Scenario 3B, Point of No Return.
Alright, so as we recall from our resolution with the Waking Investigators, the choices were either the Black Cat requested aid from the others, the Black Cat warned the others, or the Black Cat shared knowledge of the Underworld. But we actually warned the others, so looks like we're going to have to guess here.
If Randolph did not survive the
Oh, shut up.
If the Black Cat requested aid from the others...
Which it did not.
If the Black Cat shared knowledge of the Underworld...
Which it did not, again. So by process of elimination...
If the Black Cat warned the others...
There we go.
Your friends are doing about as well as can be expected, really. But they're worried about you too, and for good reason it seems. They might not be able to reach you anytime soon. They want me to help you out instead, so I'll be staying here for a little while longer. Gotta make sure you survive. If you don't, well, it takes a long pause. Let's not talk about that. Check both campaign logs. If neither campaign log has the Black Cat is at your side recorded, in the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, record the Black Cat is at your side. Add 1 Elder Thing token to the chaos bags for both campaigns. If the Dream Quest for the Web of Dreams, Campaign B, has the Black Cat is at your side recorded, cross it off and record it in the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, instead. Replace 1 rune token in each campaign's chaos bag with 1 Elder Thing token. If the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, has the Black Cat is at your side recorded, no changes made.
Alright, so we don't make any changes to the chaos bags because the Dream Quest campaign log already had the Black Cat as recorded. So we're leaving the cat with the Dreamers. Next week we'll upgrade the decks again with each new batch of experience. The Dreamers had 6 experience to play with, and the Wakers. And on the Waking side, Jenny has 8 experience because we left 1 floating from the upgrades last week, and Ursula has the new 7 that they picked up. So then after that, Lola and Harvey will go through their 3rd scenario, Dark Side of the Moon. Thank you for watching the video. Do give the video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Thank you for all the likes and dislikes as well. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.